opponent like, oh, he's not that good. He's a bum, this, that, and the third. I tried to fight Isaac Cruz first. He was the first person I tried to fight.
Back and forth. What do you make of his comments that he said that you're avoiding him at the moment in that context?
Yo con que demuestre quién soy arriba del ring, no me importa lo demás.
To land that right and then the left to the body, using lateral movement, using defense, lulling Cruz. Romero takes the shot, still standing, referee intervenes.
He said no. His team said no. His manager said no. His father said no. So it's like I can't force these dudes to get in the ring. That's why I say the
Under my opponent, like, oh, he's not that good, he's a bum, this, that, a third. I tried to fight Isaac Cruz first. He was the first person I tried to fight. Shakur Stevenson had boldly trolled Isaac Cruz by calling him a D-class fighter. There was a lot of back and forth. Oh, what do you make of his comments that he said that you're avoiding him at the moment in that context? Well, the Mexican champion isn't having any of that, as he has just fired back at Shakur for saying that much Isaac Cruz's 12-round loss to Von Davis paid the Mexican boxer some huge dividends, and is still doing the same even down after the fight, trying to land that right and then the left of the body using lateral movement, using defense laying. Interestingly, he had a top-notch performance against Rolando Romero to cap off this hard work in the sport and bag his desired title. Takes the shot, still standing. Riff Fear. These two fights have not only given Pitbull Cruz a huge Mexican fan base, but they have also given his name a deserved entry into the top-level fighters of this generation after he's been called out by Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, and Javante Davis. He now has to return to Shakur Stevenson, a fighter he had chosen not to fight some years back because of his fighting style. They said no, his team said no, his manager said no, his father said no, so it's like I can't force these dudes to get in the ring. That's why I say that before being forced to settle for a showdown against Shiro Yoshino, Shakur Stevenson did his best to lure one of the lightweight division's more established stars into the ring, Isaac Cruz. Though I think it would be a Cambo's, probably. I think it's sad. I think this is boxing in sad state. However, after making it painfully clear that Stevenson 20-0-10 knockouts wasn't in their immediate plans, the former Olympic silver medalist turned his attention elsewhere. Initially, Team Cruz remained mum on why they opted to go in another direction, but after being bombarded with questions, Team Cruz revealed that Stevenson's defensive approach would lead to a boring fight. Isaac Cruz's manager Shan Gibbons had also explained why his fighter turned down a clash with Shakur Stevenson. I'll get away with it. I think that the fans and everybody allowed them to duck. I think speaking to Buway, Gibbons said that super lightweight is now one of the most exciting divisions in boxing. He said everybody is going up to fight at 140 aside from Shakur Stevenson somebody. Nobody wants to watch. I don't care what weight. He said he's got a boring, ugly, terrible style. You'll see Cruz and Rayleigh would be a great fight to forget about that previous fight Cruz had. That was my fault. Nobody really got on top of him the way that if I was to do something like that, or I take all the blame for putting him in with an awful style of boxing. But that's what happens when you fight stinky fighters. At the end of the day, we won't make that mistake again. When we want to make exciting fights in 2024, we can't wait anymore, as he hasn't had his signature fight since Dan Davis 2 years ago. We got ridiculed for turning Shakur down, but we did the fans a favor, thank God. We turned the fight down, as it would have been a bad fight, and not because of us. We can't get Vasily Lomachenko or George Kambosos juror, so we are focused on either Rayleigh Romero or Ryan Garcia. Next, we would fight in a heartbeat. We said we want to fight. We want to fight Ryan. We want to fight Rye. We want to fight anybody. But Shakur Stevens, I'm happy he retired. Thank God. Isaac Cruz has one of the biggest Hispanic followings in boxing. It's either Saul Canelo Alvarez or Isaac Cruz that crosses over to the Hispanic market. And we know Ryan Garcia has a huge crossover following too outside of boxing. So it has all of the makings of a huge fight. Having taken the time to soak in what Team Cruz had to say about his overall style, Stevenson recently fired back at what he believes were erroneous claims. Pitbull doesn't want no smoke, said Stevenson on his Instagram Live. And you know Shakur is a great fighter, but with a style like Isaac Cruz, the guy, he would be running worse than Riot, so I was right there in front of everybody. I don't run. However, his most recent mention of Isaac Cruz was a devastating insult that might incite the Mexican into fighting the New York champion Shakur Stevenson. On a live session, was asked about what he felt about Isaac Cruz. Shakur replied, he's a class fighter. He's way below my level, and I'm not threatened by him. He's been avoiding me all this, while if he claims he's that good, he can come. He's a bum, this. And a third, I tried to fight Isaac Cruz first. He was the first person I tried to fight. It's quite shocking that Shakur Stevenson was ridiculing Isaac Cruz, a fighter that was duly recognized by the great Mike Tyson. Well, it's Shakur Stevenson, and he'll go to any length to troll fighters and force a fight. Seeing many of the fighters in his division are sick and tired of his style and would heavily frown against fighting him, there's only one fight that is really the one that, like, if we like going to be for real, after his fight against Edwin Dos Santos, Shakur Stevenson was even willing to take a lower share of the dividends should a fight between him and Javin Davis happen. Aitken called Javin Davis the biggest superstar in the sport. Many might perceive this as being truthful, while others will see it as him trying to pleasantly lure Von Davis into a fight. I don't really care about what people say or what the comments may be. Whichever way, the most important thing was how he recognized his opponent and how he disappointingly trolled Isaac Cruz as a T-class fighter. Isaac Cruz has now sent him a response saying this T-class boxer is a world champion, and whenever you decide to come, your face will be smashed. Or what the comments made me, it's I show my worth inside the ring. Perhaps Isaac Cruz's respawn wasn't scathing enough, or probably would have done more damage. However, it was an entirely different case with Tank Davis. The 2016 Olympic silver medalist sounded convinced, however, that he would eventually fight Davis, who is one of the biggest attractions in the sport. I think it's the biggest fight in the world, Stevenson told Boxing Scene. My opinion, yeah, cause we talking about like skill and like boxing, like all around. I think that when it happens, it needs to be promoted and put out there like that. I think that he and him is two of the best fighters in the world. And honestly, I just feel like it should be worldwide. That'll be the best fight in boxing right now. If you ask me, Davis 29 and Stevenson 26 are both pound-for-pound talents who've won world titles in multiple weight classes. Davis owns the Wobe's lightweight crown, but Stevenson captured the World Boxing Council belt previously owned by undisputed lightweight champ Devin Haney by beating Dos Santos in a main event at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Stevenson eventually will move up to the 140 pounds division, yet the Newark, New Jersey native thinks he and Davis will test each other in a lightweight fight. Yeah, for sure. I think 35 is the weight. Stevenson said, I think me and him naturally are smaller guys. I'm naturally a 35-pounder. He's big as far as thickness, but he ain't like no super tall guy, so I think that he'll fight at 135 for a while too. I don't think that he's planning on going up, cause we ain't talking about somebody that just got a good jab, or what you talking about like all around do everything. Yeah, when the time comes to negotiate for their high-profile pay-per-view fight, Stevenson intends to be reasonable because he acknowledged during an open workout at Top Rank's gym that Davis is a rare boxing superstar 60-40. Honestly, why would I not take it? Stevenson said, man, I ain't trying to get into the business. But like I said, once again, he's the biggest superstar in the sport, so give me the call and I'm ready to talk boxing me and tank the fight. The one is the biggest fight in the world, Shakur. It was certain that Al Heyman strategically sent Edwin Dos Santos to the other side of the street for more than just the obvious an opportunity to win the vacant WBC lightweight title. Stevenson believed Von Davis' handlers will use Dos Santos' fight versus Stevenson on Thursday night as a way to measure whether they should match Davis against Stevenson sooner rather than later. Yeah, like it's going to be the biggest boxing fight in the world. When it happens, the Dominican Republic's Dos Santos, like Davis, is a southpaw who is aligned with Heyman's premier boxing champions. Baltimore's Davis is considered a harder puncher than Dos Santos, but Dos Santos is a capable boxer puncher who has won 82% of his pro bouts inside the distance. Why would you think like 147-14? Hell, no, 135, I think 35. Stevenson sensed that Frank Martin, the PBC-affiliated southpaw who initially accepted this fight with him, would have served a comparable purpose for Heyman. Dos Santos, who was promoted by Samson Lukowitz, happily replaced Martin, who was represented by Errol Spencer's Manown Promotions, as Stevenson's opponent. Once Martin determined that he wasn't going to be paid enough money to face Stevenson in this 12-round 135 pounds championship match 40, I don't know, I can see it happening not too far in the future, really. Yeah, I think Tank signed that contract, and I'm going to sign a contract to elsewhere. Teofimo Lopes has also called out Isaac Cruz for a unification at 140 pounds. Lopes, the WBO junior welterweight champion, defended his title against Steve Claggett. The takeover came out victorious in a one-sided unanimous decision after 5 gritty rounds. Lopes turned the corner to dominate in the second half of the fight.